Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Drew Brown, and my wingman, my man, the number one guy I know, Dr. Paul Thompson. What's up, brother? Welcome to the Wingman Show. Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Rumble, you two badass jet pilots. Rumble. Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Commander Drew Brown. My wingman, the guy who watches my six, and my friend, Dr. Paul Thompson. How are you today, Brother Paul?
I'm pretty good, Mr. Drew. Good to talk to you. Commander Drew, I should say. Commander Drew and Mr. Drew. I'm doing pretty good today. Had my very cold shower, and I am stimulated and ready to go.
Good. I worked out and took a little dip in the pool, and it really felt good. All right, Dr. Paul, you know, we always start off with a quote. So here's our quote for today. When you make yourself better, you make the world around you better. That's by William Sif. Once again, when you make yourself better, you make the world around you better, by William Sif. All right, well, let's start this show off with some good news. How about this? There's a girl, Madison Crowell, who got $14.7 million in scholarships, and she was accepted to 231 colleges. So you can go to school if you study. Also, the overdose deaths have actually dropped this year, which is good news. And how about this news? Red Lobster is going bankrupt. I don't know if that's good news or not. And also, you're going to have to soon watch Netflix to get the NFL, because the NFL's coming to Netflix. Dr. Paul, what do you think about some of these stories we just talked about?
Well, if overdoses are down, that's a positive story. You don't see that much. The one that caught me the most was Red Lobster closing. I'm visualizing the one in Memphis near where we used to live. That's the one that's in my mind. There's one about 2 miles away, but I still remember that one for a lot of reasons. They had really good biscuits. I don't know, they're probably not good for you, but the biscuits were really, really, really good.
Well, Paul, I have to admit, it might be my son and myself who helped the bankruptcy. Because I remember when Drew was little, Drew and Taryn, we used to go to the Red Lobster in Memphis, that one you talked about. And Drew and I had this thing because they had all the crab you could eat. We would not eat anything, no bread, no vegetables, no nothing. We just told them to start bringing out the crab. And I guess it was a contest. How many plates of crab could we actually eat? So I hope we did.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, so they would bring out a lot of stuff sometimes. I didn't eat all that kind of stuff, but I'd watch them bring in plates. It looked like something out of New Orleans at Dookie Chase, that place. Just tons and tons of food. I don't know if that maybe they gave away too much.
Well, Red Lobster, thank God we have grown up since Red Lobster. When I first came to my town, I asked somebody, hey, what's the good restaurants around here? And somebody said, that Red Lobster is smoking. So anyway, Red Lobster out of business. Dr. Paul, the name of our show today is How to Avoid This Shit. Commander Drew mugged, and now Dr. Paul hacked. Dr. Paul, remember last week I told you I was mugged in Barcelona. They didn't get this chain, but they almost tried to rip my neck off when they grabbed it. Dr. Paul, I was mugged, and now you were hacked? What happened, Paul?
I was hacked. My Facebook account was hacked. It was hacked so bad. I'm like hacked by basketball. Shaq, Moses Malone, Draymond Green, Wilt Chamberlain, and Willis Reed all at the same time. I've been shut down for about a week. Tomorrow will be a week. Totally shut down. Someone took my account.
Well, why do you think that happened, Paul?
I don't know. In fact, I found out yesterday. I've been on the computer for about 30 hours, but I got a message yesterday saying that, hey, we see that you changed your password. Let us know if this was you. I didn't see that last week. It happened on a Friday. Well, I'll just say last Friday at 2 p.m. Just saw that email yesterday.
Wow.
I have no control over it. So whoever took it over, they assumed my identity and they're running with it. So Facebook has just shut down the total account. You can't talk to anybody. I can't. It's impossible unless you can have a personal representative. If you are an advertiser that spends over $50,000 per month, you can talk to
Wow.
someone.
But Dr. Paul,
And
let
that's
me ask
fine.
you this about FaceTime. You know, you did give one of the people who work on marketing, you gave Brandon your password so he could get into your account to do something. And I think that's where it all started. First of all, Facebook, with all the political problems happening now, they're not letting people go into Facebook with different passwords and everything. Matter of fact, they shut down 40,000 accounts last year, and they said that they are really hard on these scammers. Now, with this AI, Dr. Paul, scamming has become incredible. They can now copy your voice, they can copy your picture, actually. And I just found out that they actually have everybody gets 12 fake messages a day, Paul. What do you think about that?
Yeah, yeah. And so I don't know what happened, but you're right about the time because you said Brandon's our media specialist, a rising star in the entertainment industry. But right now he's our media specialist. And everything happened within an hour of me talking to him by the time. It was within an hour. Might have been within 2 minutes. It was around that time. So you're right on that. I didn't know that till yesterday. I think that's where it happened. I didn't do anything. But
Well,
they just need maybe a millisecond of something switching to jump onto it. Maybe it's just like a cat waiting for a mouse to finally come out. As soon as the mouse is there, I get jumped on, and you got physically attacked.
I got
This all this
physically
feels the
attacked.
same way.
That's correct. But let's not talk about what happened to us. Let's talk about some of the things that we can do to stop that. My first thing is don't click on anything. Do not, unless you know exactly who that person is. And anything that's too good to be true, listen, it's too good to be true. So if you get an email that's going to make you a millionaire in 10 minutes, it's not a real email. And the other thing is look for misspellings, Paul. Look for
Yeah.
misspellings because usually they're foreigners and they can't spell English totally correctly. And you'll see something like that. How about what are some of the things that you're going to do, Paul?
Well, do different. I do them all the time. I get tons of, I'm doing this, instant that. I don't look at that stuff. I haven't looked at that stuff for maybe, 10 years or so. But the thing is that the ones that will get you are the ones that are so good, the ones you said that they don't have misspellings. They're done well because everybody can duplicate, they're duplicating money. It does look legit. They've roughed that out. And they hire English speakers and people who have PhDs in English or whatever to proofread in some cases. And you may get hacked from someone. It could be somebody next door to me, or they could be in Eastern Europe or in the moon, as far as I know. They'll say because it said the hack happened in the town that I'm living in. Well, they could disguise. Who knows? Who knows? Facebook said it happened in the town. It could have been anywhere. Tell me how it felt when you got your chain snatched and it was pulling your neck down. What was your initial thought?
I was blank almost. I'd never been attacked like that. And it happened so fast. By the time I realized what had happened, he'd already had let go of the chain. And so I just felt attacked. It was a weird feeling. And thank God this chain didn't, because I would have felt like shit. I'm telling you, if he would have stolen my Star David right here. So
Did you
that,
did you get knocked on the ground or did you keep your balance?
no, I kept my balance, but he was on a scooter. And if he didn't let go, he would have fell to the ground. And that's why he had to let go.
Okay.
But Paul, you know what I do now for Paul? This is some of the things that I do to keep my credit safe. First of all, I went to all three credit bureaus and I turned off my credit. It is free. You can do it. And if you want to reopen your credit, you just give them a call or you go on the computer, you put in your password, and they'll open up your credit so somebody can check it if you need it. But while you don't need it, all my credit is off, Paul.
Okay.
What
And
about
now
you?
another thing to do is yeah, I've done that. Another thing you can do, and this just popped in my head. It's been told to me a bunch of times. I'm in the process of doing it. When you set up your passwords to different things, use strong passwords and two-factor notification. And I'm in the process of doing that on important stuff, especially financial things. Go to the trouble of doing two-factor notification and the strong passwords. Makes it harder for the computers to guess. Because I'm told that they'll just run programs all the time. So if you get a simple password, you'll see it. Okay, your password is shown up on 10,000 invalid searches. So change it. Typically, don't get that with a strong one because there's just too many characters. So use strong passwords.
Those are great suggestions. I hope everybody's listening. I think the worst thing that Dr. Paul and I thought was that we were too smart to get hacked or mugged, and we just aren't. So don't ever think you're above all of this. All right, Dr. Paul, you got that badass A7 behind you that you actually took a picture of, and I'm just on Fantasy Island with mine. Everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening to the Wingman Show. We truly appreciate it. Watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Instagram or Facebook. Oh, well, Dr. Paul can't watch us on Facebook anymore. But anyway, thank you so much. And we have a newsletter. You can get our newsletter at wingmanshow.com. That's our website, wingmanshow.com. Not only can you get the newsletter, you can get all of our videos. So, Dr. Paul, on that newsletter, we have something called the frequent flow line. And that's where you guys out there can ask us a question. And we do have a question, Paul. And this one actually comes from a guy in Casper, Wyoming. And he says his daughter wants to join the military, but now instead of going in for officer training, she just wants to go straight in enlisted. How can I show her that it's better to go to college and to be an officer? Paul, you go first on this one.
I'd say if she has a choice, I would encourage her to do the college route and go through OCS. One of the things you can do is you go into a college, find one that has an ROTC, Reserve Officer Training Corps. Some high schools have them. Sometimes you can even go through on an ROTC scholarship. That's an option. You come in, you'll come out with, after your 4 years or whatever, with your degree, and you can come in, go into OCS. You can enlist straight out, but your options are going to be, I think a little more going to be limited for quite a while. For a lot of reasons. That the officer enlisted, most are going to be enlisted. Officers typically the managerial class and make decisions, and different benefits. They make more money, considerably more money. That's if the finances was a factor. Make considerably more money, and have quite a few options. If you want to make a career, you can do well in either, but you just have to make the decision. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone, no matter what it is, and go for it. Yeah, you can go in and you can enlist and get educational benefits. But I think if you're a young person just coming out of school and you're in the school mode, I'd stay in that school mode if at all possible. That's my quick answer.
That's great advice, Paul. Well, my advice is you're 17 years old. Go to college. There's no big deal about it. I cannot talk to anybody's child, like I don't talk to my own. I refuse to do that. And every time I hear somebody say, well, you don't have to go to college, usually those people are college educated. There's nothing wrong with getting a college education from 17 to 21, 22 years old, and then starting your life. And like you said, officers make a lot more money. And I used to say, do you want to sweep the floors or do you want to tell somebody to sweep the floors? Well, that's not really fair, because the enlisted personnel in the military have saved my life, and they are the most important part of the military also. But that's not the point. The point is about a child getting an education. You need that college life. Don't you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think I think you're absolutely right. Do the same thing. A lot of people say you don't need college. If you have something instead, if you have a certain trade or a certain high skill, yeah, that might be true. But on average, those who are college educated or have that behind them have more choices. You just have more choices. And you say, well, it costs a lot. Yeah, it does cost a lot. Does it cost too much? Yeah, it does cost too much in many cases. But look at other cases. Look at community college, other things that don't cost, $200,000 a year or something crazy like that. So don't get just put off by high numbers. Look for ways that you can get in there and get it yourself, especially if you're a teenager. A few years, this is an easy time to get yourself together. Now, there's some people maybe say, well, college is not for me. But you don't really know that until you really try it. So I would encourage you to try it first, if you can.
Paul, 17, 18, 16, those are the dumbest years in your life. And you know that. Why would you give a child at the dumbest point in his life a decision that will affect him forever? I don't understand it. My children didn't have a choice about going to college. I didn't have a choice about going to college. And you didn't have a choice about going to college. And that's why all the people I just said are college educated. You got to start telling your kids very early in life. Don't start off when they're a junior saying you got to go to college. And for you kids out there, there's a big word that can get you into any college in the world. It's called studying. Studying. And that brings me to a Wingman PSA from the 11 Facts in Life. Fact number 9, learn to be still, quiet, and at peace with yourself. Meditate. Once again, learn to be still, quiet, at peace with yourself, and meditate. Dr. Paul, tell me about your meditations.
I haven't done, I did some focused meditation some months ago. I hadn't done it lately, for long periods of time, but I'll do breathing exercise. I do that all the time. I do it while I'm driving, do it at a stoplight or even while you drive. I like the 4-7-8 method. Do it any time of day. Breathe into a count of 4, hold the breath in for a count of 7, exhale to a count of 8. Do like 3 or 4 of those. I don't know. Is that meditation? It sort of is. I mean, my mind's not anywhere. I'm looking outside, but you can just do that. I don't think you necessarily have to have your eyes closed, but that's not a bad idea to calm yourself down. We get so much stuff stimulating us. Do you meditate?
Yes, I do. I'm glad you asked me, Dr. Paul. That's great. Being quiet by yourself is so beneficial to your emotional stability. I meditated and I learned how to meditate in Burma. Katrina and I went to Burma, and I actually went to a monastery. And the whole idea of meditating is not kicking things out of your mind. It's just concentrating on your breathing in and out. And here is the key. When something does come in your mind, instead of trying to push it out, just use this word, noted, accept it, and then go back to your breathing. Meditation really, really is an excellent way to help yourself in health, in your spiritual way, and in your mental faculties. What do you think, Paul?
You just gave me an idea. That's actually what I should have been doing when I've been fighting with this Facebook thing for a week. Because when you go, it tells you to go through this process for 20 minutes, and I get a no. And I didn't react very well. And I probably needed to do that instead of thinking of a lot of 4-letter words. So that's good advice. I'll probably do that today too.
Well, great. Well, here's the section of our show called The Gouge. And in the military, we call the gouge shit you need to know. And the gouge this week, I am so excited to talk about this, but it's called microbiomes, and that's in your gut. And I take probiotics every day. I also make my own kefir. But what is a microbiome? I didn't really understand all this until I read this article, and I need to pass this on to you guys. All right, I'm going to read this so I get it exactly correct, Dr. Paul. Your microbiome, it's 100 trillion bacteria, fungi, and other organisms essential to your health. It's located in your large intestines. Up to 5 pounds of microbes play an enormous role in determining everything from your heart health to your brain health, for how much you weigh, how long you'll live, from how happy you are, and how well you sleep. this microbiome thing is very important. Tell me a little bit about it, Dr. Paul.
Yeah, I guess you've got the microbiome. It's composed of what biota, I think, that makes it the microbiome. And it helps you in digestion and responsible for a lot of things. I looked at it and I was kind of surprised. But it also protects you. It stimulates areas that need to be stimulated and protects you from other things. Because you got, I guess, all these viruses and bacteria that are there. And that sounds bad, but some of that is good. And it keeps them in check. And when we get sick, a lot of stuff, I guess, goes out of check and it runs rampant, runs crazy. So that microbiome is important in keeping your immune system up to speed. And with I know you don't eat a lot of junk food now, do you?
No, I don't. No more.
Okay. Commander Drew is not doing the junk food, but
Well,
things
let
that
me tell you
stimulate.
about junk food, Dr. Paul. Let me tell you about the microbiome. Actually, you have this is incredible, 100 trillion of these microbes in your belly. Now, the biggest thing to make your microbiome healthy is diversity. And that blew my mind. All these microbes need diversity in the things that you eat. And if you eat bad food, your microbiome is in a place called your cecum. That's where it's held, and that's in front of your large intestine, okay? So if you eat processed foods, they don't even make it to your microbiome. They don't make it because they get digested so fast. And another good one for losing weight, your microbiomes actually eat some of your calories, up to 400 calories a day. But if you eat shit food, they never make it there. I'm telling you, this microbiome thing is one of the most essential things you can do to be healthy. Paul, what do you think?
Well, Mr. Drew, you're right, because that health keeps you from succumbing to all these illnesses. You look at people walking around now, and folks are see some of them really, really bad shape, relatively young people. And I remember, when I was younger, people just look different in general, maybe in the last 10, 20 years. But you got all these box foods around. Most of the stuff in the supermarket is stuff you don't need to eat, but they look so pretty. They look nice and they're seductive. And yeah, I'll try a chip now and then. It's really not much, but that's what people we're eating, like really empty calories. So you're busy, you're active, you're chewing, you get that going, but nothing's happening inside, and we're getting sicker. So you're right. You're big on kefir, right? Tell us
Big
about your
on kefir. I
kefir.
make my own kefir, Dr. Paul. I got
How do you
some
do it?
grains from Amazon and I learned how to make kefir. My son, Dr. Brown, turned me on to it. Now, the thing about diversity I wanted to tell you is 85% of the 100 trillion microbes, 85% of them are good. 15% are not so good. If you don't keep your microbiome diversified, in other words, eating different kind of vegetables, nuts, legumes, all these kind of things, the microbes actually eat the fiber from all these good foods. But if you don't keep diversity, that means that 15% of the bacteria that's bad, it starts to grow and it starts to get out of whack. And the last thing is, Dr. Paul, remember you and I talked about that commercial where the hamburger or the hot dog is running after this guy saying, come on, come on. And he's going, no, no, no. And then he eats some Tums and everything's okay. How about not eating the bad shit in the first place?
That's right. The commercials are great. I mean, the AI is great, but that's literally what's really happening. You're in a UFC mixed martial arts fight with what you're putting in your mouth. So a lot of the biggest threats we face may not come from the point of a gun or end of a blade, might be from your own fork and knife.
Well, let me finish off by reading this one so I don't get this wrong either, because this blows my mind. They have found out that your gut bacteria may also play a role in levels of self-esteem, our sociability, how well we sleep, our risk of alcoholism, and even how likely we are to fall in love. The vast majority of serotonin, the hormone that antidepressants are designed to boost, is generated by the microbes in our gut. and the microbiome communicates with the brain to stimulate the production of oxytocin, the feel-good hormone that's released when we're connecting with people we love. I think that's amazing. Your belly can actually help make you happy, Paul.
Okay, well, and you can help your belly by eating a good, rich variety of fruits and vegetables.
Dr. Paul, the name of our show is called The Wingman Show. And the reason is because we get a wingman every week. We both read this story, and this is amazing. Like, tornadoes are getting real bad now. And with our weather changing the way it is, it looks like tornadoes are getting even worse. So how about this wingman? There's a kid named Branson Baker. He's a 9-year-old kid. They were having tornadoes in Oklahoma. Dickerson, Oklahoma was having bad tornadoes. So Branson and his parents, Wayne and Lindy, they all got in their truck running to a tornado shelter. On their way to the tornado shelter, a tornado hit them, threw the truck up into trees. They were really seriously injured, the parents. Luckily, Branson was not hurt at all. He climbed down out of the tree, out of the truck, and Paul, he ran a mile in the complete darkness. And they said the only way he could find out where to go was because lightning strikes kept lighting up the sky. You know what he told his parents? He said, please don't die. Please don't die. I will be back and I will help you. Well, anyway, he ran a mile in the complete darkness, found help. They came and helped his parents. And guess what? The parents were really badly hurt. They had broken backs, broken ribs, broken necks. It was real serious. But my man, Branson Baker, he saved his parents' life. What a great wingman, Paul.
That's exceptional. Can you imagine coming out of a tree, just visualizing the truck in the tree it's hard to do, but tornadoes are powerful. They're nothing to play with. Glad they survived that. That's an unlikely story.
Paul and all our listeners, anything that you think is beautiful, anything that you think is important, and anything that makes you happy, may you have that today and forever. I pray for peace, Dr. Paul.
Yeah, I pray for peace too, and we appreciate all those who listen, like, and share our message. Please subscribe. Subscribe if you watch us on YouTube. Click that bell icon, and you'll get a notification every time a new episode comes up. It's good news. Pass on the good news to somebody you know, or somebody you don't know.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth, and goodwill towards all men and women.